Alright everybody, it's time for the first food-related video in a long time, a fact that will no doubt bring comfort to fire departments everywhere. Although usually, tonight I'm making ice cream, and usually if you have a cooking-related fire when you're making ice cream, it means you're doing something wrong. And tonight, I'm going to use the Waring Ice Cream Parlor. No doubt a feature-length name back in 1980 or so. This is actually my parents' ice cream maker, and it was a wedding gift to the best of my knowledge. So it's not exactly brand new, but I love homemade ice cream. It may not be good for you, but it sure tastes good. And I'm going to make some tonight using this electric ice cream machine as opposed to a hand-cranked one, because frankly I have better things to do. I've got people to harass and things to break and stuff like that, so let the machine do the job. And this one actually can do the job start to finish because it says it shuts itself off automatically, although it stipulates in the manual that that result is not exactly guaranteed. And so, the way it does that is really nothing very special. It has a circuit breaker on the motor, and yet Waring was very proud to claim at the time that it was the first and only appliance of its kind. I'm sure that wasn't true for very long, but I digress. Let's make some ice cream. To make homemade ice cream, we need all the pieces to the ice cream maker, which I've got somewhere around here. We need the instructions, need some ice, some salt, and of course, health foods. Things such as heavy whipping cream. And of course, somewhere around here is some vanilla extract that I just bought. Pure vanilla extract, no substitutes here. If I had any little vanilla beans, I'd throw them in there too. Now, if you want to improve the health benefits of your ice cream, there's two ways you can do it. You can make something like ice milk using skim milk or similar, or you can just not find everything that you need to measure every ingredient appropriately and spend a hectic several minutes running around the kitchen in a huff looking for everything like I just did. Now for this particular recipe, this is a major health nut recipe. This calls for 2 cups of heavy cream, 2 cups of light cream, 1 cup of sugar, 1½ teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And then you're supposed to blend everything together until all the sugar has dissolved, which is another way that you can expend some calories to offset what you're going to take in after you've finished eating this little concoction. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely love homemade ice cream, and if it wasn't such a chore to clean this machine, I'd probably have it more often. Fortunately, the people at Waring were very smart, and it is a chore to clean this machine, so I don't have homemade ice cream very often. Now, I've placed my concoction of vanilla ice cream in here in this cream can, and I've put the little dasher blade in there that's going to sit and churn it while the machine prepares it. Now, this machine doesn't actually refrigerate anything itself. That's what the ice is for, and to the ice we'll also add some sea salt and some cold water that I've been hiding in the freezer for about the last 15-20 minutes or so while I was at the grocery store. Unfortunately, I did not take the added health benefit of walking to the grocery store. Instead, I drove a Buick. Now, the 2 cups of cold water have gone into the bottom of the ice bucket. And now, I'm just slowly adding the ice, and then I'll top things off by putting in another ingredient that's the sure sign of healthy cooking. I'm dropping about half the ice on the floor, making a puddle, which to avoid slipping on that will also involve the expending of calories. Oh, there went the bag of ice. Charming. That will also involve the burning of calories, and as such it will further increase the health benefits of this particular ice cream recipe. Anyway, once I've added ice cream almost to the top of this thing right here, once I've added ice to the top of this thing right here, then I'll add the salt. And that's the other sure sign that whatever we're making is almost invariably healthy, because we put 27 ounces of salt, so 1 container and then some. Fortunately, we won't be eating any of the salt. That water and ice, whatever's left of the ice, will just end up being thrown away when we're done with it. Now, with the salt and the ice mixture fully prepared, and this locking bar in place to keep the ice cream canister from moving around, it's time to start this thing. And if you have one of these and you don't have the virtue of an owner's manual, Well, you just got a crash course in how to prepare it. So, you put this locking bar on and you make sure it's locked, and then plug the machine in. And it'll start doing its thing, turning the ice cream, water, and salt mix around and around until after a while the motor starts to labor as the cream gets harder and harder, and then the motor will eventually stall, the circuit breaker cuts it off, and the little ready light comes on down here to indicate that it's time to have ice cream, and it's time for about 3 hours worth of dishes to clean up every little part of this thing as specified in the manual. For those who are wondering, this takes anywhere from 20 minutes to just shy of an hour. So we'll go ahead and program that into the microwave here. We'll just put about an hour's worth of time on the clock and start it running. And then, because this isn't much fun to listen to, you'd think they could have made this thing play a tune or something. Since it was made in Japan, they could have put some fancy electronics in it. But I guess not. So, since this thing's not much to listen to, I'm going to go and do something else while this thing is making ice cream. Although, actually, if the RPMs were just right, I suppose if you were feeling handy and had enough duct tape and life insurance, you could probably put a record on here and a stylus on top and an amp and some stereo speakers, and then it would play music. Well, it's thickening up. About 10 minutes in, according to the microwave timer. So it's definitely getting closer to being ice cream. As you can see, things are melting really nicely. Now it's really starting to take the shape of ice cream. It's getting really thick and creamy, and you can hear the motor laboring. And we're down to about 15 minutes worth of time that it's run so far. So it looks like this batch will process pretty quickly. It's really starting to slow down now, folks. The end is almost near. Of course, the manual says you can stop it before it really starts to labor, but I guess I'd like to see if that little light down there still works. The end has to be near now. Okay, there it is. Time to unplug it and see what kind of vanilla dross we made. Could be poisonous. Oh, it floats. Just a minute. Alright, let's see what we got. It's not as frozen on there as I thought it would be. 2 pieces of vanilla sludge. And definitely some ice cream, although getting that dasher bar out of there looks like it's going to be a party. Well, we'll have to serve some, and even though this guy doesn't deserve any, I'm going to give him some anyway.
That's right. You better.
Okay, well, there's one bowl of it. Now, it's not frozen terribly hard, but you could always toss this can into your household freezer per the instructions. And it looks like it makes about enough. Oh, there's a hair in there. Well, I better not complain too loudly. Everybody else will want one. Anyway. Anyway, it looks like it makes about enough for 3 average-sized bowls and probably about a half of another one. So there you have it, making ice cream with the Waring electric ice cream parlor, the first and only dessert appliance of its kind. And yes, that is really what it says.